nothing, sir.
All right, have a seat here.
Bro, I didn't do nothing.
All right.
Welcome back to Advocacy, Alchemy with Professor Ross. Today we have a good one, guys. We're headed to Madeira Beach, Florida. This is in Pinellas County, where a night at a bar takes a quick turn from intoxication to felony charges. This is the kind of case that shows us just how fast some of our poor decisions and alcohol can collide with the law. With that, let's jump in.
I'm out back. I'm asking him to leave 3 or 4 times. He's trying to fight me.
You? Just fighting time?
Yeah.
And you're with him?
No, we just pulled up and y'all trying to calm everything down. Like, I don't know what's going on. We're all good at first.
I like to I'll have a trespass, please.
Yeah.
I had to stop him swinging the bottle. He was about to swing the bottle. The bottle right's on top of his car. He had it in the bar.
So that?
Yeah, he was about to swing it at somebody. He had his hand tucked behind his back. I asked him to leave 2 or 3 times. He wouldn't leave. Then I knew he was out back talking shit, stirring up stuff back here with other people. Asked him to leave again. He literally started calling me bitch. I'm just like, dude, just leave, just go.
Did he make contact with you at all?
No. I didn't really want him to, but I'd like for not leaving, I'd just like to have him trespass.
I got you.
Do you know what to say?
Yeah, you're never welcome back here.
Okay. That's all you gotta say. Just say that.
You're never welcome back here. Don't come back here again.
Vamos. Sorry, Payo. Let's go. This way.
Hey, what you doing? What did I do?
What did I do? He puts his hands on you, you take his hand off and swats at you, so he's going to jail, you know?
What did I do? What did I do?
You just said it twice.
What am I arrested for? What am I arrested for?
Stop moving. Stop moving.
Hey, bro. What am I arrested for?
Stay still. What did I just tell you, man?
What am I
A part of it is what you're doing right now. You're not listening.
Disorderly intox, man. You're way too intoxicated tonight.
Sir.
You're not even behaving.
I'm not. Hey, sir. I'm just trying to talk to you, bro. You keep pushing me.
I need you to stay still.
I can stay still.
All right, so stop moving.
You keep pushing me, though, sir.
You got any drugs on you or any weapons?
No, sir. I don't got nothing on me. Why is y'all pulling me on my
Secondary pocket.
I didn't do nothing. I can get a ride home, bro. I didn't do nothing. That's change.
You're going to jail, bro.
Pass that, man.
What am I going to jail for?
Disorderly intox.
Disorderly intoxication.
That's right.
I didn't do nothing, sir.
All right, have a seat here.
Bro, I didn't do nothing.
All right. One second. All right, get your leg up, man. Get your leg up. Lift your leg.
I can't get right.
All right.
Brother.
Put your leg in the car.
Why are you doing this to me?
Get obstruction now.
I need you to loosen up. Yeah. Loosen up, or I'm gonna make this.
I need you to loosen up, bro.
Loosen up the leg.
But what did I do?
That actually kind of made me laugh a little bit.
Hey. You're either going to start listening or you're going to take a lightning ride.
What did I do?
You want to get tased?
Bro, chill. Hey.
What did I do?
Marco, just calm the down, man. Let these people just...
Bro.
Put your feet in.
Chill, bro.
Put your feet in.
Get back in.
Marco,
Put your
for real.
feet in. Hey, bro. Don't let these people tase you, man. Stop that shit, bro.
Hey, bro.
Marco, dude, let you back up.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You're good.
And he's got stinky feet, too.
He did. That's why I was like...
Stay there. Stop moving. You kick again, you're getting tased.
I'm not trying to kick you, bro.
Listen, you kick again, you're getting tased.
Hey, bullshit. I ain't trying to kick you, bro.
I need you to sit still.
Hey, bro.
If you kick this window again, you're going to get tased.
Sir, I didn't do
Sit
nothing.
back.
I didn't do nothing.
Sit back.
Sir, I didn't do nothing.
I need you to sit back.
Sir, I didn't do
What
nothing.
did I just tell you? All
I'm
right.
sitting back.
This is...
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm sitting back, bro. Hey, bro, I ain't sitting back, bro. Hey. Hey, I've been sitting back, bro.
That door.
You kick again, you're getting tased.
Hey,
Understand?
Bro, I ain't did nothing, bro. Bro, I ain't did nothing, bro.
You get one chance.
Bro, I didn't do nothing.
You get
bro.
one chance.
I didn't do nothing.
I just want to get away from
Sir,
there.
I didn't do nothing.
But if we have to, we have to.
Sir, I didn't do
Get
nothing.
in the car.
Sir. Oh!
there.
There are two
Get in there.
taser deployed.
I didn't do nothing. Get in there. I didn't do nothing.
That's not
I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, but he needs to learn somehow.
Sit down now. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing, sir. Sir, I didn't do nothing.
Shut the fuck up!
I didn't do nothing.
Hey, go to City Hall quick.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
Well, man,
I didn't do nothing.
really, like, you got yourself a felony now.
I need to go to the hospital. Please. Please.
Well, you should have thought about that before you kicked us.
Bro, I didn't kick y'all.
Yeah, you didn't just kick me?
Let me see the social. Let me see the video camera, bitch.
Well, the camera has it all. Trust me, I promise you.
Y'all tased me, bro. I need to go to the hospital.
No, you don't. We have nurses at the jail for you.
No, I need to go to the hospital.
No. Hey, Marco, do you want to provide a phone number
I want to provide a doctor.
for the arrest affidavit?
911, bro.
All right. What's wrong?
Bro.
Huh? I can't hear you. What? You're about to die. Why? You gotta throw up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You had a lot to drink today. Hey, Corporal, I think he's throwing up in the back of the car. Just letting you know. Yeah. Marco, you feel better? Can you take a look at him? Because I can't hear him. He's not saying anything. Just make sure he's breathing and stuff.
He puked all over his own face and your back window and the seat.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Sorry, bro.
No, you're good. Marco. This guy fell asleep.
All right, so once again, this happened in Florida, so we're using the Florida statutes. First, trespass after warning. All right, this is found at the Florida statute section 810.09. Now, he hasn't been charged with trespass. He's been given the warning portion, okay? But this is when a person is told to leave a property and given a formal trespass warning. They're legally barred from returning. If they refuse to leave, they commit trespass. Now remember yesterday's video, we also dealt with trespass. That's why we're right back here again. The penalty in Florida, this is a first-degree misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 1 year in jail or 12 months of probation and a fine of up to $1,000. Now if a person is armed, it goes up to a third-degree felony. Marco here, he wasn't armed, okay? He was just out having a drink, had too much to drink, okay? Now he was told formally, you're never to come back here. Now, if he refuses to leave or if he comes back tomorrow, he'd be in violation, okay? Moving up one more, disorderly intoxication. Now, he was charged for this. This is found at section 856.011. Now, a person who is intoxicated and endangers the safety of another person or property, or who causes a public disturbance while drunk, they commit this offense. All right, remember here, Marco was intoxicated, but also the worker. He might have been a bouncer. He said that he saw Marco with a bottle behind his back, looking like he was about to go hit someone. He pointed out where the bottle was, and Marco was fairly standoffish when the police were interacting with him and told him he had to leave. Disorderly intoxication carries a penalty of up to 60 days in jail. This is a second-degree misdemeanor. 6 months of probation, a fine of up to $500. Now, the felony here. Resisting an officer with violence. This is found in the Florida statute section 843.01. This happens when someone knowingly and willfully resists, obstructs, or opposes a law enforcement officer by offering or doing some violence. And this is all while the officer is lawfully trying to do their duties. Now here, we have an obvious set of kicks directly to the chest area. It hit the camera. The camera is worn directly in the center of the chest. This is a third-degree felony. It carries up to a punishment of 5 years in prison or 5 years on probation, a fine of up to $5,000. All right, now we already see at the end of this video, the original uploader, Blue Line Bodycam, they showed us what he was charged with. Now, I don't have his last name, so I can't go find his official record, okay? But this case still makes a perfect teaching example. So next, let's move into our evidentiary standards. Okay, let's walk through these 6 levels of evidence. We talk about them daily because they apply in some form or fashion in every case. Let's start at the lowest and let's work our way up. All right, first you have mere suspicion. Now this is simply when the government or the police have just a hunch that something's wrong. They don't have any proof to back it up. They can't take any action when they're at this level. Now here, officers see Marco outside the bar, clearly drunk. Now their instincts may say he might cause trouble, but that's not enough on its own for any action. But they can come and watch and see if anything's going to develop. The best example is when a person calls dispatch and they then send the police out. At that point, they're coming out of them on basically a mere suspicion. All right. Many times, once they get there and they see something or they talk to one of the witnesses, then they move up to this next level. All right, the second level is reasonable suspicion. This is when the police or the government have specific articulable facts suggesting a crime might be happening. A good example is the bar staff tells the officer in person Marco refused to leave and he's about to swing a bottle. That's enough to detain and investigate further to see what's going on. Moving up one more level, probable cause. Now at this level, the police and the government can come and arrest people. At this level, the government can also go and obtain warrants to come and search for property or contraband. And this level means that the facts and circumstances would lead a reasonable person or a reasonable officer to believe that a crime has been committed. Every time you hear probable cause, that means somebody is or is about to be arrested. In this situation, after being trespassed, Marco still isn't really quick to leave, right? He shoves against the officers. He acts disorderly. These actions give officers probable cause to arrest him. Next, moving up one more level, we have preponderance of the evidence. Now, this standard is used mostly in civil cases. It means more likely than not, the claim that you bring is true. Now, this applies to us as citizens. It also applies to the government. And it applies to the police also when they have to come to court and they'll be represented by their city most of the time or whatever municipality they're a part of. Now, if this were a lawsuit against the bar, the staff testimony plus the body cam footage would be enough to prove it's more likely than not that Marco trespassed and he acted disorderly. They will only have to show 51% of the evidence. And that should let you know that civil cases are easier to win than criminal cases. Moving up one more level, we have clear and convincing evidence. Now, this is a higher level of certainty and it requires strong proof. This means that there's a substantial likelihood that your claim is true or a high probability of being true. This means in order to win these types of cases, you're going to have in your favor about 75% of the evidence. This is used on those administrative cases, when your license is being revoked for a number of years, when you're about to lose your job, when you're fighting for child custody. All those types of cases where you would want more evidence to prove your point. Here, Marco's visible intoxication, his slurred speech, his resistance, and us having body cams showing him kicking the cruiser and kicking at the officers, that all supports resisting with violence as a charge. All right. Now, once again, that's going to have to be at the beyond a reasonable doubt level. But if Marco wanted to bring some defense, he would need to have clear proof of his defense, and it would need to meet clear and convincing evidence. Say, for instance, if he wanted to use some disability. All right, finally, let's move up to our highest level, beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, this is the gold standard. It's required for every criminal conviction. This is used in every criminal case, okay? This level means there's no other reasonable alternative besides the defendant being guilty for the charges that were brought against them. Here, the body cam footage shows Marco physically kicking the officer. He was told repeated times, don't kick. If you kick, we're going to tase you. All right, now having officer testimony, the body cam footage, and potentially some of those bystanders' testimony, a jury could find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. All right, so with that, let's put ourselves on this jury. All right, so now let's shift gears and let's put ourselves in that jury box. Now remember, there's going to be 12 of us back in the jury room talking about this case. We've got the bar staff saying Marco refused to leave after being trespassed. You got officers testifying that he resisted commands. He stiffened his body. He kicked the cruiser hard enough to nearly break the window. And you got body cam footage that shows everything unfolding. Now, as a juror, what do you make of all of this? On one hand, you have Marco, who's drunk. He's belligerent. He's a little bit out of control. Obviously, he had to be way more out of control before the police showed up, right? But does that excuse his actions, or does it make him more dangerous here, being drunk? Was this more disorderly intoxication, or does it give rise to that level of resisting with violence? Do you think the couple kicks to the chest equals resisting with violence? Next, let's think about the credibility. That's the weight we're going to give to the testimony and the evidence that we see. Now, the staff seem consistent. The officer, or each of the officers, they all stay on message. And we have a camera that captured everything from different angles. We even have Marco's own words and his actions. Now, jurors often rely not just on the evidence, but also on their intuition. Ask yourself, is this someone who simply made a mistake after having too many drinks? We see it quite often here on this channel, right? People have too many drinks and they do stupid stuff. Happens. Or someone who's knowingly crossed the line into felony behavior. Remember, when they're trying to get him to sit up in the car, he made a statement that he wasn't trying to with his feet. He wasn't trying to kick the officer. By the end of the video, we see that he's just drunk, passed out, puked on himself. All right, so the big thing here, even if you sympathize with Marco's intoxication, the law doesn't grade on a curve. A kick to a cruiser is still an act of violence against law enforcement. A kick to an officer's chest is definitely considered an act of violence. Now, with you sitting in the jury seat, are you going to convict them of the felony or just keep everything at the misdemeanor level? Do you see this as a case of a drunk man making poor choices, and maybe he needs just a little bit more mercy? So, felony or misdemeanor, you tell me below. Based on the facts, in the law, maybe a felony, but it wasn't so bad as what we've seen before. I think one thing's for certain, Marco should have took the trespass and just walked away. Now, what about, do you think that his intoxication makes for any excuse to anything that happened? Or does it make it worse? Now, would you sentence him to probation, jail time, or just give him a fine and say, all right, you have another chance at this thing? Let me know all in the comments below. Now, this case out of Pinellas County shows us how quickly a simple bar incident snowballs. Marco started out facing nothing more than a trespass warning. All he had to do was walk away, and the night would have ended there for him. Intoxication and defiance pushed him further, from disorderly conduct into resisting with violence. Marco, you turned everything from a misdemeanor into a felony. What's our lesson here? I think it's fairly clear. Alcohol and anger don't mix with the law. Every choice Marco made stacked, making the charges go higher until he's staring right at a felony. In the end, he pled guilty. And because of his plea, he received just a 24-month probation. I bet you in the end, he wished he didn't go out on September 6th last year. Now, if he went to trial, he potentially could have ended up with some jail time. Or just the worst outcome. 24 months, $700. Remember, every month he has to pay a fee to be on probation also. So what's the big takeaway? When your emotions are too high and you're under the influence, that's when you need to slow down, take a breath, think. Compliance and composure can save you from life-changing consequences. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Marco's actions be considered a felony here? Or do you think it was just some drunken behavior gone way too far? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video with somebody else. Remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy, and I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone enjoy their Saturday. Be safe out there.
If you've got ideas or videos you want me to lecture on, send them to the queue. And come back tomorrow at 8:45 a.m. for another lecture.